Last week, I introduced the dilemma of content licensing within streaming media. And I discussed the ways in which content publishers can augment and enrich their core performance data with attributes, really to build analytical licensing support, decision support that leads to better transparency over time. Now, this is phase one of the content licensing dilemma, and you can watch last week's video if you haven't already. But the overarching objective of content licensing is not individual title selection, but to arrange the optimal basket of titles. So to build a portfolio of content that optimizes, engagement metrics and monetization. There are infinite number of possible content portfolios by arranging and choosing different titles and pairing them together. But we have to learn to explore this landscape, understand how these possibilities relate to the core metrics we're trying to optimize. Now, I'm well aware this is not the typical frame with which to think about content licensing, but I think this analytical lens is very important. Even if you have a well-established content portfolio strategy, how can you be confident that there is not a vastly superior budget allocation just 30 or 40 degrees away? Now, let's say there's a fixed budget, budget with which to license titles. And just looking at the vector of cost, maybe proxying cost for the value, popularity of a given piece of content, there are polar strategies. We can take one pole, which is to license a relatively small number of titles of higher average quality, maybe more popular, potentially for exclusivity rights. At the other end of the spectrum, there is the strategy of going for breadth, more streaming hours of content, a lower average quality, lower average name recognition. Now, between these two polar opposites, it's not quite obvious which one will perform better in terms of our core engagement metrics. So we have to learn how to explore through this space and experiment. Now, Hakuin has a proprietary experimentation framework for exactly this problem that we've pioneered. By using the content grid, the UI, also promotion, as substitutes for the broader licensing decisions, we can estimate how different portfolio templates, if you will impact metrics, streaming metrics. Even for those content providers without the ability to A/B test or distribute simultaneously different versions of their content UI for controlling and testing. Even the content publishers that can't do this for technical reasons, we've developed ways to do this through date part benchmarking and standardizing across time periods, trying different tactics, trying something else, and having a standard benchmark that we can look at. This is an area of expertise for us, and I think it's very important for content publishers, even those who haven't really given much thought to this specific angle on the problem of content licensing. It's very important to consider this as the content space continues to grow, as it gets more crowded. The winners will most certainly be those streaming channels that consider very carefully how to spend their budget and how to license the optimal content.